So I was in the middle of photos and how you doing?
Board members, if I can ask you to come to the dais. This March 5, 2020 regular meeting of the Fairfax County School Board will now come to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, a moment of silence, and the performance of the national anthem by Chantilly High School Chamber Chorale under the direction of Evan Ayers.
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you again to the Chantilly High School Chamber Chorale and the director, Evan Ayers, who is also the partner of our very own Mr. Carl Frisch, the school board member from Providence. The board held a closed meeting earlier this evening and certified compliance immediately upon convening in public the forum work session, which preceded tonight's regular meeting. A few other announcements before we begin tonight's meeting. If you would like to review a copy of the agenda and any agenda item that is being discussed tonight, that information is on the table by the auditorium entrance. Tonight's agenda is available by going to the school board on the FCPS homepage and selecting board docs under upcoming school board meetings. The meeting is also being streamed live online. Select School Board from the full menu. Then click on the Watch Live button on the School Board Meetings webpage. Please turn off or silence your cell phone. And I now call on Ms. Boateng for an announcement.
Hi guys, so we have a lot of announcements, so please bear with me. So, Theater in Our School Month, March 2020. The American Alliance for Theater and Education has designated March as Theater in Our Schools Month to celebrate and increase public awareness of the benefits of theater education for youth development. The theme is Fostering a Culture of Creativity. Theater education has the power to raise academic achievement and to stimulate innovation and creativity among students. The Alliance encourages citizens to celebrate the positive impact of theater in the classroom and to remember that all students should have access to quality theater education in their lives. Music in Our Schools Month. March has been officially designated by the National Association for Music Education for the observance of Music in Our Schools Month, the time of year when music education becomes the focus of schools across the nation. This year's theme is All Music, All People, and is designed to raise awareness of the importance of music education for all children, to remind citizens that school is where all children should have access to music. It also is an opportunity for music teachers to bring their music programs to the attention of the school and the community, and to display the benefits school music brings to students of all ages. Youth Art Month. Art education contributes powerful educational benefits to all elementary and secondary students. Art education develops students' creative problem-solving and critical thinking abilities. Teaches sensitivity to beauty, order, and other expressive qualities, gives students a deeper understanding of multicultural values and beliefs, and brings to life what students learn in other subjects. The theme for Youth Art Month 2020 is Your Art, Your Story. The Fairfax County School Board believes that support should be given to art teachers as they strengthen art education in schools and communities, and all citizens are urged to take interest in and give full support to quality school art programs for children and youth. And before I hand this back to Ms. Corbett Sanders, I'd like to recognize a couple Boy Scouts in our midst. We have Zach Smith from Troop 1100 and Noah Lazuski from Troop 577. If you can stand to be recognized. Thank you.
I now call on Ms. Cohen for a recognition of the West Springfield Boys Cross Country Team champions.
On behalf of the Fairfax County School Board, it is my honor to congratulate the West Springfield Spartans for winning the Virginia Class 6 Boys Cross Country Championship. On November 16th, the championship meet was held at Great Meadow in the Plains, with 3 senior Spartan runners earning top 5 finishes. The team clinched its first team championship since 1995. Coach Chris Pellegrini credits 4 years of build-up that helped these seniors run an amazing race and achieve the team title together. Congratulations to all of the players and coaches for this accomplishment and victory. The state title is a great source of pride for West Springfield athletics and the entire FCPS community, especially the Springfield district. We wish all of the runners continued athletic and academic success. At this time, I'd like to invite the coaches and athletes to join us at the dais for a photo with the board.
Oh, sorry.
I'm almost in here now. Almost.
I now call on Ms. Marin for a recognition of the VSBA Equity in Education Month recognition.
Whereas obtaining a quality education and having more opportunities for success beyond what was available to their own generation are shared aspirations parents have for their own children. And whereas the reality, sadly, is that opportunity gaps still remain for traditionally underserved children in the United States, Virginia, and Fairfax County, and that by shortchanging students in their efforts to achieve their goals, we've impacted not only the individual students, their parents and families, but also society as a whole by limiting the lifetime benefits we would have all otherwise received from students' fully developed skills, talents, and ideas. And whereas we recognize that factors including but not limited to race, color, ethnicity, disability, gender, gender identity, sexual orientation, religion, national origin, and socioeconomic status have a demonstrated history of impacting the access of quality of educational opportunities provided to a student. And whereas we understand that despite past efforts, disparities continue in schools that present substantial obstacles or detours in career and life success for students who are not offered equitable access to challenging courses for their abilities, or school counselors, strong teachers, a safe educational environment, and buildings, supplies, or technologies that are conducive for learning. And whereas the promise of a public education is for every child in our diverse county to receive the resources and supports they need to be successful in school, college, career, and life. And whereas it is important that Fairfax families, students, teachers, and school administrators to be aware of the diverse needs of learners and to encourage discussion of the challenges as a school community and to highlight the need for a continued focus on educational equity so that all students can be all that they can be. And whereas the Virginia School Boards Association has established a task force on students in schools in challenging environments to make recommendations and to stay at the forefront of discussions on equity in Virginia schools, now therefore be it resolved that Fairfax County Public Schools recognizes the month of March 2020 as VSBA Equity in Education Month, with the intention that educational equity, best practices, and programming be discussed and promoted in FCPS schools, communities, and classroom during this time and for always. I so move.
Thank you, Ms. Marin. Is there a second? Seconded by Ms. Omesh. Ms. Marin, would you like to speak to your motion?
This resolution comes at a really timely point because we have already been doing the work to increase the equity that we have in our schools. But we need to keep reminded that we have so much to do, and I'm heartened at the reteaching, the new reinterpretation of things like our Virginian history and the impact it's had on African American communities, Native communities, and all sorts of other populations that we know that today don't get the resources that they need. So I'm very heartened that we're doing the work that needs to be done, but let's always remember that we face these challenges each and every day.
Thank you, Ms. Marin. Ms. Omesh, would you like to speak to your second?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And I'm proud to be amongst colleagues who also believe in the importance of this work. As most of you know, this is particularly the issue that brought my attention to the position on the school board to begin with. And as a former student who's gone through the system, it's of particular importance to me. I mean, when we think of education, it's not just an equity conversation internally in our schools, but it's how we bring about and raise equitable communities. And education is really that starting point. When a child walks into that kindergarten classroom, hopefully pre-K soon, what we choose to do for them and how we elevate them and empower them really reflects itself generations later and when the child is older and what they're able to accomplish, and whether we do in fact believe in and enact the meritocracy that we're all proud of, right? To make sure that the idea of the American dream is accessible to everyone, because it really starts at in the classrooms that we're all responsible for. So I'm very proud to second this and look forward to continuing the good work to fill in many gaps and hopefully to also be trendsetters in many ways in the coming years.
Thank you, Ms. Omesh. Ms. Keys-Gamarra?
Thank you. I just wanted to note that the governor will be holding strategic plans or The Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion for the Commonwealth of Virginia is hosting 5 community forums around the state where Virginians can provide input on Virginia's first ever strategic plan for diversity and inclusive excellence. The Northern Virginia meeting will be on Wednesday, March 25th at the James Lee Community Center in Annandale, Virginia, on Annandale Road in Falls Church, Virginia.
Thank you, Ms. Keys-Gamarra. Ms. McLaughlin?
Thank you. I just want to say that I'm very pleased we have this recognition, and to those who may not know some of the historical context, when Ms. Koufax and I joined the board 8 years ago, Fairfax County Schools did not have an Office of Equity. It was something that the Minority Student Achievement Oversight Committee had been recommending for years. It's something that Fairfax County did have prior to budget cuts that happened before we had joined the system. And we then brought forward to then Superintendent Karen Garza to say that given Montgomery County had a very robust Office of Equity, it was long overdue that Fairfax County join in this effort and recognize the importance of this work. And so it's really, to me, a very special recognition, because I know that through our community of advocates, through board members, during my tenure with Ms. Koufax that understood how important this was, I'm so pleased that Fairfax County, through the leadership of Dr. Duran, has really enabled us to do very important work in this area, and will continue to grow in this important work.
Thank you, Ms. McLaughlin. I will now call for the vote. All those in favor of the recognition, the VSBA Equity in Education Month recognition. And that is unanimous. The motion carries.
Please join me in welcoming Dr. Duran and the Equity and Cultural Responsiveness team to the dais for a photo with the board.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special birthday in the house. I want to wish the amazing Miss Karen Bolt a very happy birthday. And Miss Bolt, we would love for you, Miss Bolt, we have a guest. So the next order of business is citizen participation. Tonight, 2 citizens have signed up to address the board. Speakers are requested to limit their remarks to no more than 3 minutes. The school board will not hear statements involving issues that have been scheduled for public hearings, such as capital improvement program, budget, and boundaries. Complaints regarding individual students or school-based employees should be directed to the appropriate school principal or other school official. Speakers should not refrain from using personally identifiable information in connection with an individual student. Speakers are expected to deliver their comments with the decorum and respect appropriate to the conduct of the public's business. Please be mindful that there are often young children in attendance at these meetings or watching at home, so language should be appropriate for all age levels. Thank you for your cooperation, and thanks to those who have come to speak to us tonight. Our first speaker is Steve Childress, followed by Kathleen Millard. Mr. Childress? Okay. Ms. Millard?
Hi, good evening. Happy birthday, Nicole. Anyway, about 2 years ago, good evening, Superintendent Braybrand and school board. About 2 years ago, I spoke with you about this issue, the synthetic turf fields. And I'm looking at the fact that Luther Jackson Middle School and Centerville High School are going to have their synthetic turf fields replaced. And so I guess this bears repeating because it means there's a growing number of schools that are going to install synthetic fields. I think there are approximately 25 already. The belief that artificial turf fields are safer and less expensive over time is actually mistaken based on data and studies. The cost to maintain and replace artificial fields after the warranty expires is exorbitant. One of the synthetic turf industry's selling points is that an artificial turf field will last 8 to 10 years. However, they will never warranty it more than 8 years. Another selling point is the initial high cost of installation will be recouped at no time from the savings of tens of thousands of dollars required to maintain a natural grass field. This is also false math, and the reality is that natural grass fields are a bargain by comparison. But my concern is not with the dollar cost, it's with the health and environmental costs. In 2014, Washington State soccer coach Amy Griffin identified 55 young soccer players who played on artificial turf, and they had been diagnosed with blood cancers, including leukemia, non-Hodgkin's, and Hodgkin's lymphoma. More than 60% of the players were goalkeepers. That means they were diving down to get that ball, and as a result, they were inhaling the little rubber particles. As well as the little rubber, crumb rubber is what they're called, which is used as infill. They also come from recycled tires, and there are toxic chemicals, including benzothiacyl, skin and eye irritation, harmful if swallowed, butylated hydroxylenol, recognized carcinogen, hexadecane, severe irritant based on human and animal studies, octaphenol, erosive destructive to mucous membranes. In fact, when I walk around McLean High School, I see those little rubber things all over the track. Now, the country of Spain banned synthetic turf, but they developed something else, which I think, wow, would Fairfax County not really be doing a service to our country to look at something other than the artificial turf we're currently using? Spain developed a hybrid with an artificial base over which grass grows in a natural way. I have more in my statement. I think do you all have the statement about the research you don't?
Your statement will be shared with all the board members, so okay. Please be assured of that.
Okay, yeah, well, that's great. I just wanted, because there is some really documented information. It's not just me randomly picking out some facts and figures. Okay, thank you very much. And, maybe Fairfax County can lead the way on healthy and safe synthetic turf fields.
Thank you. I now call on Ms. Boateng for student representative matters.
I wasn't ready. Okay, here we go. Good evening, everyone. So I think it's safe for me to say at least that school has been running circles around all of us. It is third quarter, and Super Tuesday was on Tuesday, of course. And I'm not sure if this was the same for everyone else, but it kind of felt like me. I had 2 Mondays, so getting readjusted was interesting. So that being said, let me just let you guys know where I've been since we've last seen each other. So last week, I visited Thomas Jefferson High School, and yesterday I visited West Springfield. So every time when I visit a school, I like to have these groups. Like when I show up, I have them move into small groups, and I kind of ask them to talk with each other about certain things, like say, like, I don't want to say issues, but say like conflicts that are going on in their school that they feel as if are unique to their school. And after that, we have like a sharing out session, and then I answer questions, and then I put out some information. The information I've been putting out is, of course, the student applications. So, and I also went to an SAC meeting, and, you know, a little sad. It's our second to last meeting coming up. There's a little, you can't see it, but there's like a frowny face on my notes. And they're gonna hear the whole spiel about how much I loved the program, how much it was a great experience, but in all honesty, it's been a truly fulfilling experience being able to go to every single meeting and meet all these people and also have these very important topics talked about that. And it's really a wonderful experience seeing all these people who are really engaged and passionate about what's going on in our county. On a more serious note, it's always hard for me personally to bring up sensitive topics, but I feel as if personally there's been many people who have come to me, and I feel as if it's kind of, I owe them something to talk about it. So lately, the whole world has been feeling very fearful, and I think we all know what I'm talking about in terms of fear about certain illnesses. I'm just gonna say that. So I want to emphasize and preface that it's completely normal to feel worried, to feel unsure, to feel scared. That is a natural feeling, and even I feel that too. I'm like a human too, so it's not like I'm like a robot. I feel fear too. What isn't normal and what frankly isn't acceptable is xenophobia and the mockery of peers, community members, and frankly anyone. Fairfax County has 4, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, strategic plans for a quality school system, one of which being a caring culture. So that being said, I say this all the time, be kind to each other, but I think I want to emphasize it, and especially towards our Asian students. Please treat everyone with respect. And this happened like a few years back when we had that Ebola virus. I'm West African. I felt the brunt of jokes, of ridicule. And I see the same things happening to my Asian friends. And I want to say that fear is understandable and normal, but we must not let fear consume us and reshape our values. And also, that wasn't an official statement from Fairfax County. I'd like to make sure that everyone knows that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Boateng. We now call on Dr. Brabrand for the introduction of the third quarter budget review.
Thank you, Chairman Corbett Sanders. We have our third quarter budget review, and I believe our director of the budget, Alice Wigington, is going to come. And Alice is right there, and we have, there you are, and we have our COO, Marty Smith, who will support Alice and you all if do you have any questions. We have a short third quarter review, but we look forward to sharing it with you at this time.
Thank you, Dr. Brabrand, and good evening, members of the school board. I'm here to present the FY20 third quarter budget review. The purpose of the quarterly budget review is to provide the school board with information about school board funds. The third quarter review offers an opportunity to review the current FY20 budget and to make revisions as necessary based on current year trends and/or new requirements. The third quarter review reports on activity and recommendations that have been made since the mid-year budget review that was approved by the school board on December 19, 2019. The agenda is organized with descriptions of the recommended changes, followed by updated fund statements for each of the 9 school board funds. Once the third quarter budget review is approved by the school board, it is forwarded to the county for inclusion in their third quarter budget review package for any necessary supplemental appropriation changes for FCPS's funds. The county is scheduled to present their third quarter budget review on Tuesday, March 24th, which follows the action of the school board's third quarter budget review. Beginning on page 1, there are no recommendations for adjustments for the school operating fund or the school construction fund. In the Food and Nutrition Services Fund, revenue reflects an increase of $5,001 to support the Share Our Strength and Virginia No Hungry grant, with a corresponding increase in expenditures of $5,001. This funding is used to purchase refrigeration storage equipment to support the transportation of cold supper meals for the after-school program. In the Adult and Community Education Fund, revenue reflects a net increase of $60,081, and this is due to the reallocation of grant funding for the Adult Education and Family Literacy Grant, as well as the Integrated English Literacy and Civics Education Grant. This too has a corresponding expenditure increase of $60,081 in expenditures. The AFLA programs are designed to help adults improve their skills in reading, writing, math, language acquisition, and other basic skills. And then finally, beginning on page 2, the last adjustments are reflected in the Grants and Self-Supporting Fund. This includes the net impact of new and revised grants, resulting in an increase of $1.4 million as displayed in the chart below. I thank you for the opportunity to present the FY20 third quarter budget review. We have a work session to discuss this in detail, which is scheduled for Monday, March the 9th. We are planning to provide an overview of each one of the funds and spend a lot more time going in detail for each fund, describing its purpose, and going over each individual fund, particularly considering that we have 8 new school board members, so trying to get you familiar with the package as well as each fund. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I have Ms. McLaughlin with a question or a comment.
Yes, as budget chair, I just wanted to prepare board members that for our work session on Monday, because there isn't any proposed changes to the general fund, which is where we tend to spend our focus time and decision making. But there are so many other of these grant funds. So we had talked with CFO Lee Burden that she would use that time to really help all 12 of us, because even the 4 other board members, it's been a long time since we've walked through all these other grant funds. So I just wanted to make sure you all knew that we would use this as an opportunity to actually hopefully just learn more about the various funds that affect the operations in Fairfax County Schools.
Thank you, Ms. McLaughlin. That sounds like an excellent use of our time, so I appreciate it. We now come to this section of our agenda where we confirm actions taken in closed meeting, but since we're going back into our closed session, we will delay that section until after we finish our closed session. So our consent agenda. Our adopted rules of parliamentary procedure, Robert's Rules, provide for a consent agenda listing several items for the approval of the board by a single motion. Many items listed have gone through board review, and documentation has been provided to all board members and the public in advance. Items may be removed from the consent agenda at the request of any board member prior to the meeting. 6.01, award a contract for the Centerville High School synthetic turf field replacement project to the lowest responsive and responsible bidder, GTR Turf, Inc., in the amount of $755,000, and authorize the division superintendent or the assistant superintendent of facilities and transportation services to execute, deliver, and administer the contract on behalf of the school board. Item 6.02, award a contract for the Luther Jackson Middle School synthetic turf field replacement project to the lowest responsive and responsible bidder, Sprint Turf LLC in the amount of $699,340 and authorize the division superintendent or the assistant superintendent of facilities and transportation services to execute, deliver, and administer the contract on behalf of the school board. Is there any objection to approving the consent agenda? Hearing and seeing no objection, the consent agenda is approved. New business. The following new business items are new business agenda items. There will not be a vote tonight on these items, but action is scheduled at a future meeting. 7.01. Approve the titles listed for the high school science as they recommended by the High School Science Basal Instruction Resource Review Committee and the Selection Advisory Committee. 7.02. Approve the titles listed for the middle school language arts as recommended by the Language Arts Basal Instruction Resources Review Committee and the Selection Advisory Committee. Item 7.03. Approve revenue and expenditure adjustments as reflected in fiscal year 2020 third quarter budget review as detailed in the agenda item. Item 7.04. Name the campus at the Northwest Elementary School site, McNair Upper Elementary School. Item 7.05, approve the contract with Dominion Energy whereby FCPS will operate 8 electric school buses for the contract term in conjunction with the charging infrastructure installed on FCPS property pursuant to an agreed-upon temporary easement for the benefit of Dominion, and 2, authorize the division superintendent or the assistant superintendent of facilities and transportation services with the advice of legal counsel to negotiate, execute, and administer this contract and all related documents on behalf of the school board. We now come to superintendent matters. Dr. Brabrand.
Thank you, Chairman Corbett Sanders. I'd like to take a moment for the board and for the community to share an update on the coronavirus, as I know this is an important topic in our country, in the Commonwealth of Virginia, and here in Fairfax County, and in our school communities. First of all, I want to assure all of you, our community members, board members, parents, students, staff, that we have a team working directly with the health department to monitor and plan for any necessary response to COVID-19, as the coronavirus is now being called by the Center for Disease Control. This is not the first time that Fairfax County has had to prepare for potential health threats, and we have already existing plans and protocols that are being updated and that are in place to handle any situation that may come our way. The Health Department and CDC continue to reinforce a key message: good health hygiene in all of our schools and offices and in our homes is key to preventing the spread of any illness, and it certainly is true as well for COVID-19. We are encouraging and today distributed over 1,000 posters to all of our schools with the instructions to wash your hands, cover your cough, and stay home if you are sick. Again, wash your hands with soap and water, cover your cough, and stay home if you're sick. We've also instructed principals to encourage students and staff to follow that guidance and to make sure that we do use instructional time as necessary to allow students to wash their hands throughout the day, and reiterate the importance of students and staff staying at home if they are not feeling well. There are no hard and fast rules on what the health department from Fairfax County will recommend if we start to see cases of COVID-19 in our area. It is situational, and we will be focused on strategies that prevent the spread of disease, what the health department calls containment. We have a team working on a tiered plan to address instructional issues if there are school closures. We recognize the complex equity issues that involve student access, the range of academic supports necessary to help our students receive support in the classroom if we do have a school closure, and the implication, particularly for our high school students, Kimberly, for high school courses and for graduation. We are going to weigh all of this carefully and prudently and with the best interest of our students, staff, and our entire community in mind. We will continue to provide, I am committed to providing a weekly update at minimum and more if necessary to our community. And we will continue to update our FAQ document that's on our FCPS website, fcps.edu. Please go there. As you'll see, we'll continue to update it with additional information as it becomes available, and it is available in multiple languages. This remains a fluid situation, one that we will continue to remain responsive to. I recognize as a parent and as superintendent with your children in schools that this uncertainty creates anxiety for all of us. And I am sharing with you as superintendent, and I share with our school leaders today, we know it is our responsibility to maintain our calm, to provide reassurance, and to continue to do everything we can to communicate our plans and communicate them often, and continue to work collaboratively with the county health department and CDC as we monitor this situation. Finally, not in some of the notes I prepared for tonight, but Kimberly, your words were so powerful. There is no time, any time in Fairfax County Public Schools for hate against a person of their race, religion, sexual orientation, and this situation, this health situation with COVID-19 is certainly no excuse for any student or staff member or any adult to make any comments about others based on who they are, where they're from. We will continue to work to make sure that that clarity is clear in every school and every office in Fairfax County, and I appreciate you bringing it up because I know I am hearing some of this, and even one instance in any school is one instance too many. So we need to speak with a clear voice, and I'm speaking with that tonight to say it is not acceptable. And please, if you and your colleagues are hearing that, to tell a responsible adult in the school, and we will follow up appropriately with that student, staff member, or that adult. So thank you very much. Finally, to switch gears for a moment, I want to share with you that I was fortunate to join a couple of board members today at an amazing event at Lake Braddock Secondary School, where one of our middle school students, Alex Mather, was recognized as the winner of a NASA contest to name the Mars 2020 rover that will be launching from Cape Canaveral in Florida in July and arriving on Mars next February. There were over 28,000 entries, and the winning entry was from Alex right here in Fairfax County Public Schools. The name for the new Mars rover, by the way, is Perseverance. NASA is having Alex and his family travel to Florida to watch the launch. So part of Fairfax, our Fairfax County students, and this system is really going to be launching in the sky, headed to Mars. I couldn't be prouder, and there is no better example of portrait of a graduate than what we saw today at Lake Braddock. And I want to thank NASA. I want to thank Amazon Web Services for providing some additional financial support. And I want to thank our IT team, Mary Beth and her team, on very, very short notice, put together this surprise announcement. And we were really, really proud.
Thank you, Dr. Brabrand. That is an exciting bit of news. I now call on Ms. Derenak Kofax for a report from the forum held earlier this evening.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Dr. Anderson brought forth a forum topic to look at our IB curriculum through the primary years and through the middle years program. There was extensive conversation and extensive support on this, and we talked about moving it to a work session to allow new board members who are new to the board to understand about the full depth of the IB curriculum that is available to our schools, but also to talk about where schools need where some pyramids do not have programming for middle years or for elementary schools, even though they have the IB curriculum available at the high school. So we are going to talk about that, have a comprehensive look. And there was another thing, what was it? There was another part to this about the Get to Green initiative.
To include as part of the presentation how we can scaffold from our existing enrichment programs such as Get to Green,
Okay.
and the Global Classroom,
All right.
and others.
All right.
And how that might.
Put your mic on if you're going to talk.
No, I was just kidding.
No, go ahead. Finish.
Oh, I apologize.
That's okay.
Ms. Daranack Kofax. It is to build, when the staff come to us with the presentation on IB, that they will also look at how they can build upon the existing programs, being Get to Green and the Global Classroom and other enrichment opportunities, and how the IB complements it or diverges, and bring that as part of the plan.
Right. And we also talked about how IB curriculum is so in line with our portrait of a graduate. So I look forward to that. I look forward to Dr. Presidio and his team bringing that to us in a work session shortly. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Daranack Kofax. Next on the agenda is board matters, and I call on Ms. McLaughlin.
Thank you. I want to just echo Dr. Braybrand's excitement about Lake Braddock's special announcement. The energy in the auditorium of the entire 7th grade class that joined Principal Daniel Smith and his team. It was not only that the students were all there in the audience for this massive unveiling, and to have the NASA engineers there doing a panel with this 7th grade young man. Alex was so articulate and so well spoken, but also the fact that it was live streaming in California, where all the NASA engineers were, and so being able to see their reaction, and it was just incredible to think that 28,000 young people submitted for that, and right here in our own backyard, Alex just shined. And the other thing I wanted to just celebrate was that there were at least 3 or 4 Fairfax County alumni who were there, part of the NASA team. And so one of them was a West Springfield High School graduate and has spent 34 years with NASA working in design. And she offered that if we would like to have some of their engineers come in the future and speak to our children about just the endless opportunities to work for NASA in so many different areas beyond even just the engineers. So I thought that was really great. And then I did want to just share with my colleagues that this past week, I did meet with the Association of Fairfax Professional Educators, one of our teacher associations, and the conversation went for over 2 hours, where they were just talking about how we really do need to work with our teachers about the concerns they have of workload, that they so appreciate the improvements we've made on salary compensation and competitiveness, but the workload continues to be extremely challenging, and the concerns about burnout and losing good teachers. So I know we'll have more conversations on that, but I wanted you all to know I found that was a very helpful conversation to have with them.
Thank you, Ms. McLaughlin. Dr. Anderson?
Thank you. Just a few activities of the past few weeks. Had the opportunity to read at Glen Forest earlier this week, and it was a wonderful chance to interact with our students and to see all of the school's administrators and adults dressed up as book characters. I really appreciate that opportunity to read to a kindergarten class and a 2nd grade class. And I know all of us had different invitations, and so I just wanted to make sure that everybody knows we were out there reading to our young ones. I also wanted to say very quickly that I think over the last couple of weeks we received a ton of letters from folks who are in Fairfax, a few outside of Fairfax, that are really supporting the school board members' decisions to work on the Lee High School name change. I was very encouraged by all of those letters that came to us and the reasons why those individuals felt it was really important for us to address this issue. So thank you all for sending us that communication. And lastly, I want to say a big shout out and big thank you to Justice High School. We attended on Friday the Black History celebration, which was fantastic. Ms. Tolan was there, as well as Ms. Keys Gamara, as well as Dr. Braybrand. It was one of the most wonderfully created and developed student-led assemblies that I have ever attended. They sang, they recited poetry, they danced, they made us dance, which was not okay with that. But outside of that piece, it was a fabulous celebration of Black History Month.
Ms. Marin.
So to pick up where our student representative, Ms. Boateng, left off about needing to promote more peace and acceptance, I was really glad to attend the Peace Awards of Fairfax County. And it's a program that's hosted annually, and it honors the work of high school students who are working to promote peace in many different ways. It's put on by a group of organizations from the community, some faith-based organizations, and I guess there were about 30 different students, and the work that they had done had ranged from helping classmates regularly through a program to organizing programs that empower girls abroad. So it was a particular pleasure because I got to give the award to a friend of mine from Madison who's been a family friend, so that was really exciting about her work with Amnesty International and also working to bring communities from African American communities and Jewish communities together. So it was just really inspiring. So that was a good thing, and we know that that good work is out there, and these young people are putting it out there whether or not the adults are, want them to or not. So it was very inspiring. And I also got to attend my first advisory committee meeting for the adult and community education work, the ACE committee, and that was really exciting too because there's a lot of energy around aligning the efforts to get workforce preparedness with not only our strategic plan, but also the new Fairfax County strategic plan. So talking about apprenticeships and internships and trainings and English as a second language classes, just a real array of offerings. So the committee talked about ways to raise revenue, ways to further align with what we're doing here in our district. So just very inspiring stuff. It was a great week. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Marin. Ms. Sizemore-Heiser.
Thank you very much. And I wanted to sort of echo what Dr. Brabrand said about the NASA event at Lake Braddock. I'm going to say, full disclosure, my kid's school, so go Bruins. It was really exciting to see someone from my own children's school being celebrated. But really, it was an amazing event to know the creativity and creative minds we have here in Fairfax County. And to see NASA come down and celebrate that was just amazing. I wanted to say I've had now, well, supposedly 4 hours, but it turns into 6 hours of office hours in January and February. I've had people show up 45 minutes before it started and stayed an hour later. And I just want to say thank you to everybody for coming out and talking to me about your concerns. I love getting out in the community. And speaking of that, I have to just share one quick thing. We've been reading across Fairfax County this week, and it's been wonderful to read with the students. But in addition, this morning I went to Glasgow Middle School for their lobby day. And I just wanted to pinpoint this because it's such an amazing example of portrait of a graduate skills at work. The students in the civics classes there picked an issue they cared about, either school-based or community-based, and researched it, came up with a presentation around it, even collected raw data, which in terms of polls, made video games, and invited elected officials to come in, and they lobbied us. And it was amazing to hear of the concerns of the students, not just their concerns, but their thoughtful solutions they had put in place. And the one that got to my heart was a twice exceptional student who put together an incredible PowerPoint, including a poll on team taught AP and honors classes. So I would just say kudos to those students and the way they respectfully and thoughtfully reasoned for their ideas. So there's many, many other things. I went to the Fairfax City School Board meeting, but I just wanted to really pinpoint, I loved seeing our kids thinking and being creative about it in the portrait graduate work. So thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Tolan.
Thank you. I want to follow up on the description of the Black History Month event and just give a big shout out to the Herndon High School STEP team. They were special guests at that event at Justice High School, and they were amazing. Thank you so much for being there. We have some exciting work. We're moving forward on the Human Resources Advisory Committee. Pleased to work with Dr. Nixon on that and our team. We're looking at putting together something like an employee bill of rights or a maybe portrait of a workplace. So more information to come on that. Could be really interesting. Our joint environmental task force met again yesterday. We're on track with meeting the first Wednesday of each month here at Gatehouse, and again have groups working on energy, transportation, waste, and green workforce issues. I was thrilled to be at Churchill Road and Lemon Road elementary schools earlier this week to read to kids as part of Read Across America. And my hashtag, A Day in the Life program is continuing. My first newsletter just went out a week or so ago, and you can read that online. I have my description of my day at Langley High School. And since then, I have spent the day with students at Herndon High School and McLean High School. And I'm getting lots of review in my algebra and chemistry, empirical formula calculations. I had attended a fantastic exercise on voter suppression in the United States, a review of the suffrage movement. I learned how to wrap wrists in sports medicine. So, I mean, it's just been incredible just to see the amazing array of coursework that our students are involved in. I've seen creative teaching techniques, a very appropriate use of technology in the classrooms, I might add, welcoming environments, and very positive relationships between students and staff. So I was excited about that. I already have plans to be at Cooper, Longfellow, and Herndon Middle Schools during the month of March. And then I'm going to move on to the elementary schools and investigate students and various jobs throughout our elementary schools as part of this program. So watch for my newsletters. We'll have a little description of each of those experiences. I'll be at the Great Falls Farmers Market on March 14th for office hours that morning. So please stop by and visit me there. And I'm also thrilled to say, as part of Youth Art Month, the McLean Project for the Arts just opened last night, a McLean Pyramid art show, and that will be at their facility in McLean for a couple of weeks, and then they'll have a Langley Pyramid art show as well. So thank you, Dranesville.
Ms. Derenak-Kovacs.
Thank you. I want to thank all the people from the Greater Wilton Woods Community Association who invited me to speak about school issues in the community. I briefed them about our budget, our equity initiatives, and the current school construction projects in Region 3 that have happened over the past 5 years. I also attended the Foundation for Applied Technical Education, their open house. And for my colleagues who may not realize this, we have a partnership where students learn construction, engineering, electrical, and they build a house. And not just a house, a $900,000 beautiful house, and we have that's in my district, in Lee District, and students from all over the community come and help put those homes together. And I really encourage you to next year, because you missed this year's event, but I encourage you next year to come. Oftentimes there are students there who will take the tour and they'll show you the drywall and they'll point out the electrical outlets that they did. And I always say it's the best example of hands-on experiential learning that there possibly can be. And there are 9 more houses to be built. They continue to look for sites to continue this project beyond that time frame, and so they're already starting to look. So if anybody has any connections, that would be great. And but again, I encourage, and this house is sold, so there'll be people moving in the next few months. They said in the next few weeks. Tomorrow night, I look forward to seeing the Rose Hill Elementary School players. They each and every year put on a spectacular performance where they defy your belief when you watch it that they are elementary school kids. And tomorrow night they are putting on Oz at Edison High School, and they also have performances on Saturday, March 7th, this Saturday at 1 and 6. So if you have the opportunity to do that. I also look forward next week to speaking to Springfield Estates Elementary School about the same things, budget, equity, and school construction. And also, that's the place where my kids went to school, so it's always good to come back and visit, and I look forward to that. Next Wednesday, March 11th at 7 p.m. Will be a meeting at Lee High School to hear from the community regarding the change of the name. And next week, I'll also be meeting with representatives from one of our teachers' associations, FCPS, and I will also be touring Edison High School with the new lead district supervisor, Rodney Lusk. So I hope to see some of you all out there in the community. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Derenak-Kofax. Ms. Keys-Gamarra?
Yes, I will be brief. I know we have to go and back into close, but I was very happy to have an opportunity to see the house that our students built in the Lee District, and I have pictures if people would like to look at them. They were beautiful, and I took some decorating tips so that my husband knows what will be happening next. I also attended the PTSA meeting at the Mount Vernon High School with my colleague, Ms. Karen Corbett-Sanders, and had the opportunity to read at two schools, Glen Forest and Armstrong. I also participated in the Student Peace Awards, which has already been mentioned. I'd like to follow up on our comments from our students, and I hope she's around here somewhere, but we have been very much aware of some of these comments, and parents have written me. I'm sure they've written my colleagues, and I just want the community to know that we are very aware and are putting together a plan in conjunction with our staff to make sure that our students feel supported. When children are bullied in any form, it can create trauma. And I, for one, have spent a great deal of my life fighting against that, and so we will do everything we can to support our students and to help children learn from their mistakes. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Keys-Gamarra. Ms. Pekarsky.
Thank you. I also had a busy last couple of weeks. I was able to attend Super Transition Saturday, which was an amazing event, and I learned so much, and I'm always amazed at how many resources we have for our students that I did not even know about, and I think I know a lot about the system, and that was an event for learning about post-secondary support for students who have IEPs. I also enjoyed my visits reading to students for Read Across America week. That was lots of fun. And I had a budget haul last night. I want to thank everybody who attended. We had some good comments, and I appreciate that. I will also be having office hours on March 23rd, roundtable discussion format at Jure Cafe, and that information can be found in my newsletter. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Pekarsky. Ms. Omesh.
A number of events, as folks mentioned this week, Read Across America Day, the Peace Awards and whatnot, which I was very happy to participate in. To keep this brief, I did want to mention I had the pleasure of going to a number of Girl Scout Thinking Days over the past couple of weeks, which are always a great opportunity to think globally, to bring about projects where we can act locally. And finally, I'm happy to announce that my colleague, Ms. Sizemore Heiser, and I visited Lee High School, actually, and I'm very encouraged that we're going to see some changes made to make the school environment a little more inclusive. So in any case, you all know how to find me. I have my weekly office hours, and I'm accessible on social media and whatnot. And I'm digging through all your many emails. Thank you for being in touch and for your patience.
Ms. Cohen.
I just want to echo that I was so excited to get to watch Alex Mather be the space star that he will certainly be one day at Lake Braddock today. It was truly one of the coolest things that I've gotten to be a part of, and I can't wait to get to follow Perseverance as we follow the Mars 2020 project. This week, I had the opportunity to visit Hunt Valley Elementary School, Rocky Run Middle School, Chantilly High School, Eagle View Elementary School, Willow Springs Elementary School, and Union Mill, and then had the opportunity this morning to read to the amazing second grade class of Mrs. Dickerson at Braddock Road Elementary. Hi, guys. It has been an awesome week to get to be part of Fairfax County Public Schools. I have my first office hours on March 11th, 10 to noon at Pohick Library, and then 7 to 9 p.m. at Burke Center Library. You don't have to come with a specific topic, but I hope that you'll come with the good and the bad, and maybe the in-between, and I look forward to seeing everybody. Thanks so much.
Mr. Frisch.
Thank you. It's been a busy couple weeks since our last meeting. I too attended a Black History Month celebration at Falls Church, although it was the week before the one that was previously mentioned. I attended a digital citizenship expo for the Oakton Pyramid, which was fantastic and very well attended. It was great seeing high school students answer questions about social media from parents, like what is a TikTok? That was fun. I too have taken part in Read Across America this week, reading to kindergartners at Flint Hill and Shrevewood and Mosby. It's been great cracking back open the Dr. Seuss. I met with the Oakton High School Gay Straight Alliance, which was a wonderful conversation that I'll be filling my colleagues on. Talked to the Boy Scouts from the Arrow of Light Den from Cub Scout Pack 1537. Had my office hours in Oakton, and we'll be having my office hours next month in Falls Church and the month after in Tysons. And I want to remind people that we've got a Lee Community meeting on March 11th to discuss the name change, and on the 18th we'll have our public hearing. I'm very much looking forward to having that conversation about the proper place for things in our history. And Elaine and I had another JET meeting where we talked about environmental issues that we're working on with the county and with stakeholders around transportation and employees and energy and waste and recycling. So we're making a lot of progress there as well. And before I close, I want to thank our friends at the National Education Association for always pushing really hard on Read Across America to make sure that as many students have an opportunity to participate and hear from what they call celebrity readers. I really think the kids are the celebrities. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Frisch. And because we are going back into closed session, I'm going to limit my remarks to two. One is to thank the communities of trust, Inova, Red Cross, State Farm, Fox News, and FCPS, as well as all of the first responders, for putting together the Eyes Up, Hands Down campaign, which created the opportunity for students in the western side of the county to participate in or to learn about the impact of being distracted drivers. And the kids were able to put on goggles and drive an obstacle course, play basketball, do a number of different games or tasks, and realize what the impact is of either drinking and driving or being distracted by using your cell phone. It was a great learning experience. Then they had some panel discussions, and I think they were most intrigued by the Lamborghini that was parked out front. Secondly, I know that Ms. Cohen and I share the enthusiasm and the warm wishes for the South County boys basketball team, which will be competing for the state championship against Washington Liberty on Friday night. And so let's see those Stallions bring home yet another state championship this year. And with that, I'm going to make the motion to go into closed meeting. The board will now make a motion to go into closed meeting to discuss and consider disciplinary and other matters concerning one or more students pursuant to Section 2.2, 3711A2 of the Code of Virginia. Do I have a motion? Motion made by Ms. Tolan, seconded by Ms. Sizemore-Heiser. All those in favor? That's unanimous. We are now in closed session.